Morning. What I do with my people and team members if they have a career question or a problem is that I take them for a walk and talk. So we basically walk and talk about any issue that they might have. And we have received a lot of questions from you over the past days after we launched the Wingwomen channel. So we thought we actually try one of these walk and talks with you, so that in addition to the weekly videos, we also have something where we can actually more immediately answer the most burning questions for you. And the question that we actually got a lot this week was, how do I actually find the right career for me? So how do I decide what the right subject is for me to study, or the right type of education? How do I actually find the right type of job? And whenever I get asked this question, I basically give back a few questions that you should be asking yourself, which few people do, but they are actually very helpful for you to find what is right for you. Let's have a look at those. Ask yourself, what do I value? Values are so important, and a lot of people think about their dream job as one specific type of job that they might want to have, but what's actually much more important for you to be happy and to really fulfill your potential is that you work in an environment that brings out the best in you. And one of the key things for this work environment is the values that the people around you have, and they need to fit with your values. So for example, when I hire people into my teams, I actually put into the job description at the start what our values are, and that includes, for example, that we are open and transparent, and if there's an issue, we always tackle it head on. Another thing that we write down, and that is very important to us, is that in our teams we lift other people up. I absolutely hate it in how many workplaces people are pushed down, people are told what they cannot do, what they will never be, instead of actually telling them what they can do and what they could achieve. So when I hire people, I only want to have people in my teams that are uplifters, so that lift other people up and that don't push them down to make themselves feel strong and tall. And a lot of people who are looking for their dream job or dream career, they haven't really thought about what is actually important to them. What are the kind of key values that you have about life, about how the workplace should be? And once you know that, then you can look for organizations that actually share your values. You can look out for that when you're looking for a job, but it's also something that you should be asking in interviews. You first need to know what your values are, what's important to you. So write that down today. Write down what actually matters to you. I just need to go down a little bit because of the trees. So write down today what is actually important to you. What do you value in an organization, in a work environment? What inspires you? What do you hate? It's always very important to know what you don't like. And step by step, look at what are the things that are actually important to me. And then you go out and you find other people and other organizations who also think that this is the most important thing. And that will actually lead you towards the right type of job and towards the right type of organization. Ask yourself, what gives me energy and what takes my energy? For example, I know that what gives me energy is having a lot of space to create something new, a big challenge, having very few rules and boundaries, and actually being able to build things up from scratch. So for me, a job like being an entrepreneur or working in an organization that is very fast, very nimble, where you have few processes and where you also have probably less people, because it allows you to be a kind of bigger and more significant wheel in the whole machine. That's the right type of job and organization that I thrive in. On the other hand, what really takes my energy is when people constantly say, you can't do this, you're not allowed to do this, this will never work, we've never tried this. A lot of rules and a lot of process that you need to adhere to when things are really slow. And even though certain jobs come with a lot of security, that is also not the right thing for me, because I love freedom and the freedom to try new things, and the freedom to also take risks above a lot of other things like security. That does not mean that this is the right thing for you, but ask yourself, and literally kind of on a sheet of paper, write on the left what gives me energy, on the right what takes my energy. That is a super important question, because it will give you a lot of clues about what type of job might be right for you, what type of organization might be right for you, and also importantly, what you have to exclude, because you should always exclude the things that take your energy. Ask yourself, what interests me? A lot of people, when they think about the right type of education for themselves, they think that there's the kind of right degree or the right type of education for the right type of job for them that is out there, and that is not true, because firstly, you can be successful with anything as long as you are very excited and energized by it, which is why it's so important that you do something that really, really interests you. And secondly, the things that you will really need in your job, you will learn on the job. No matter how many times you have read about how a business works, you will only really know how it works and what you need to do to make it work once you actually are in it. No matter how many times you might have read about fundraising, you will only really learn it once you actually start doing it in the workplace, and there you will learn anything that you will need. Some of you have also asked, what should I do differently if I have a health issue or a disability? And the key question you need to ask yourself here is not what makes me different, but what makes me special. The reason I say this is because the people who in my life have been the bravest and the strongest and some of the most impressive that I have met, they have all gone through struggle at some point or another in their lives. For example, one of my best friends, she is a very impressive entrepreneur and she has multiple sclerosis, and that illness didn't keep her from actually living her dream and doing the things that she really wanted to do with her work life. There was somebody else that I've worked with who was diagnosed with cancer when he was really young. So what we then did is that we reorganized certain things in his team so that he was able to continue to work because he was just an incredibly valuable asset for our organization. And I once had somebody in my team who really wanted to get pregnant, but she couldn't, and she had the trust to actually tell me about it, so we reorganized her work as well so that she could get special treatment and actually combine her kind of dream job with her dream life in a personal sense. So when you apply to a job and you have a disability or you have a health issue, that doesn't mean that you should treat the application any differently to how you would normally do it. So you apply to the job, you just give your best, you show your energy, you show your enthusiasm, you talk about your skills and everything that you could bring to the company. We will actually have a video coming up soon on how you ace interviews. But you are just yourself, and if you then get offered the job, you then talk about some special needs that you might have or things that might actually limit you from working the kind of traditional hours. And any good company, in my opinion, that you should want to work for should treat its employees well. And treating employees well does mean that your boss should take into account special requirements. And if they want to have your skills and your abilities, and if they're a great organization that really cares about its people, they will want you to do well and to be well, and they will have the flexibility to actually accommodate you because they know that you bring a lot of great things to the organization. Ask yourself, what do I want? And the reason I say this is because a lot of people, and actually the majority of us, we don't live our own dreams. We actually live the expectations of a lot of other people around us. That can be our parents or our partners or kind of social norms, what's supposed to be the right thing to do, the right career to have, the right type of success. If I had followed the advice that other people had given me at different points in my life, I would be very unhappy now, and all of the great things that happened and all of the successes in my career would never have happened. So for example, when I was 17, I one day decided that I really wanted to go to Oxford and study archaeology and anthropology. And almost everyone in my environment said that this was a stupid idea and that would never work out. So people were saying, well, with archaeology and anthropology, you will never be able to get a job. Actually, I didn't even know that the job that I did then, later, existed. I didn't know that you could be a tech for good investor and an innovation investor. So that thought hadn't even crossed my mind. And other people were saying, so my teachers, for example, you will never get in, you're just not good enough. Nobody we've known has actually ever made it into Oxford or tried that, so why do you actually want to do that? But luckily back then I didn't listen to any of those comments. And also later on, when I, for example, quit my safe job to build my own business, oh my god, the amount of people who said that this was the really bad idea and this would never work out, and that was a stupid decision. There were so many of them, and it turned out to be amazing. Really tune into whether the track that you're currently on is your track, or if it's actually the track that maybe other people expect you to take. Oh my god, it really is such a beautiful day in Oxford today. I hope you have a good day as well, that it's a bit sunny, that some of the questions we gave you will help you actually find your way, and that you can use them as hacks to trigger yourself towards actually finding the right type of job and the right type of career. And let me give you one last piece of advice, actually a little story that somebody once told me. So we all, or many of us, stress so much about whether we will find the right purpose for us, whether we will find the right career, the right job. And the reality is that this doesn't just magically appear, but the way to find it is to just live your life. You just need to try out things. Importantly, also try out what you don't like and what doesn't work for you. And then at some point, purpose and your dream job will just appear and whisper into your ear, now I'm here.